Hello friends, welcome back to my channel. Right now we are going to be talking about the fan fiction called Damaged Goods. So Hermione is now in her mid-20s and is back at Hogwarts to pursue her higher education, which I thought was a unique perspective on things because they made it into like a Hogwarts university, so you can go back for, you know, higher education stuff. So that was neat. They are older, so it makes me feel better just because I don't really care for when they go back to Hogwarts and stuff, just because they're younger. Try to forget the trauma carved into her by the war. She spends one lust-filled night with a certain pure blood, but that night will have consequences. The one thing I liked about this one that was different from the rest was this one went straight into the smut aspect of it, which I was a little worried about because I like the slow burn, you know, if it gets there, whatever. Also, since it went straight into it, I was kind of like, we'll see how much of interest I have. Like, let's see if I even, like, let's look at the plot to see. Because I don't really like too much of just that per se. Like, it's nice to have, you know, a good balance. With this fan fiction, I think it did a great job with the balance between the both. But I was a little wary just because it started right with it in the beginning. It says, while her personal life unravels, a string of mysterious murders forces her to work together with Draco Malfoy, who himself seems to carry many secrets. He scared her, not because he wielded killing curses like they were nothing, but because he seemed to understand her in a way that even she didn't. The more she let him in, the more power he had to destroy her. And this one likes to say, come for the smut and stay for the plot. And I was like, interesting. So that I was like, okay, I can give it a shot. This one is by Slytherin After Dark. I really enjoyed this one. Like, it kept me very much engaged. And basically, Hermione goes back to Hogwarts University because she's trying to basically invent some kind of potion. Like, she has a project in mind, and it's a secret project that she didn't want to tell anybody about. Snape is alive in this one, which I was like, oh yay, I love Snape. So he is actually helping her, and she's trying to like find out how to exactly make this potion and with his help, but she doesn't want to tell him what she's trying to like create. She wants to keep it a secret. When it first starts, it's her actually being in the library and researching about this project, and she ends up coming across some students her age as well doing some certain things in the Hogwarts library. And it is during like midnight and so nobody's around, so she ends up getting caught up in that situation and is just curious and just like, what is happening? She starts to basically enjoy what she's seeing and somebody ends up catching her. And that somebody, Draco Malfoy, she ends up getting embarrassed and all that stuff. And when he like gets there, he basically like just, you know, confronts her like, what are you doing? Whatever. And then she's like, oh, nothing, blah, blah, what are you doing here? And whatever. One thing leads to the next, and they end up, you know, basically sleeping together, not in the Hogwarts library. That just starts just a whole ball of effect of craziness, because when she gets out of there, she's actually fresh out of a relationship with Ron. They had just broken up like 2 weeks ago. So her being with him, it's like they left the library and then all of a sudden Harry ends up finding them. He's like, what the heck? He sees her coming out first, all like messed up looking and stuff. He's like, what the heck? So he knows something is up. Like, what the heck just happened? Like, what are you doing? She's like, oh, nothing. I was just doing whatever, studying it and, you know, researching that I was doing because, you know, nighttime, nobody's around, so it's better for me. And then Draco Malfoy comes out behind her. So now he's like, wait a minute. What the heck just happened? He gets already defensive, like, what the heck? It doesn't look right, this whole picture. Like, why the hell would Hermione be in there with Draco of all people? She's all messed up looking, like something happened. He's over there tucking in his shirt, whatever. He's like, whoa. So immediately he's like thinking, okay, he just took advantage of her. I'm gonna like, you know, do something. Actually, you know what? Was it Harry? I swear I keep getting these things confused. I'm reading too many of these things. It might have been Ron. I think Ron might have caught her. I think Ron is, I don't know. Anyways, one of them catch, and then they get in a fight. Yeah, it was Ron. It was Ron. So he catches them. She tells him about, you know, oh, it's nothing, blah, blah. And he ends up getting in a little, like, fight with them, whatever. He sends him to St. Mungo's because he's, you know, beat the crap out of Ron. She ends up finding out when she goes to potions class, Snape tells her, oh, I need your help with something. She's like, okay, what? She realizes Draco's there. Why is he there? Whatever. So they make a little deal. He's like, I need you to help us with something. I can't tell you what it is. She said, well, how am I going to help you with something and you're not going to tell me what the heck it is that you want me to help? Whatever. He's like, well, he ends up finding out she has like secret notes of her secret project that she wants to do. And he's kind of like, you're not supposed to be doing this. You just need to tell me what you're trying to do, because you're getting these ingredients that are, I guess, hard to find or whatever. And he ends up finding out that she discovered something that could be helpful for his project. So in order for her to continue to do it, he says, I will let you keep doing it as long as you help me. If you don't help, then I'm seizing your stuff and taking your notes and you can't work on your stuff anymore. So she's stuck into this predicament to where she has to agree to help them in order to keep doing what she wants to do. So not only is she trying to work on her project, she also has to help them with whatever little project that they have. She goes along doing that, and along the way discovers things for her own project, so it's in her benefit as well. But in order for her to keep it a secret, he makes them do an unbreakable vow. So, meaning, obviously, if she tells somebody, she's gonna die. She's basically assigned to help them with potion making and stuff. So Draco takes her, I think it's like a certain night every week, I believe, to go and help try and figure out this potion that can help for what they need it for. Since they're hanging out so much, feelings start to come back, you know, or not come back, but feelings start to evolve. And they get themselves in situations to where they end up continuing where they left off in the library. And, of course, end up falling for each other. There's one scene in this book that cracks me up. And there's a part to where she ends up befriending a Ravenclaw student. And he's actually working on his own project of like potions or whatever. And I think the potion, if I remember correctly, what was this potion about? I don't remember what the potion was about, but there were side effects. She didn't listen to the side effects because she just was excited about what this potion was, so she took it right away. He's like, wait. So she just ended up taking it. It's fine, blah, blah, I'll be your test subject. So afterwards, he's like, I feel like I wish you would have just listened to the side effects. She was like, what? What are the side effects? How bad could it be? He's like, well, it brings the effects of like Verita serum, or it has Verita serum in it. I don't remember, but one of those. And she's like, what? He's like, but it only lasts 30 minutes, so you should be fine. She's like, oh my God, well then let me just go back to my dorm room, at least hide for like the 30 minutes until it blows over, right? So she apparates home. She just says home. So afterwards she tries to apparate home, but something happens to where she doesn't go home. She ends up going and showing up into Draco Malfoy's bedroom. She's like, what am I doing here? He's in the room like looking like, what are you doing here? And from then on, like, as he realizes when he asks her questions, she's answering him in a way that she would never have done before. And then something clicks in his brain. He's like, wait a minute, you're telling me the truth too much, or you're just blurting out stuff. What did you take? And she proceeds to tell him and how it's a side effect of this, whatever. And then he plays around with her and starts asking her these questions. It's hilarious. I was cracking up. And one thing leads to another, and you know. But I thought that part was hilarious. I could not stop laughing. Reading this fan fiction, I was hopeful for a happy ending. I had no idea what was going to be happening towards the end. Like, nothing whatsoever. I like the surprise to figure out what's going to happen. And what I liked about it was it led it up to where you have no idea. It could go this way, it could go that way. Major character deaths, who knows? So I just kept, you know, reading on. Very like, oh, I'm scared to see what happens. And in the end, I was very pleased with the ending. Just to say that. So if you plan on reading this, it's gonna make you go like this a lot. You're gonna be like, whoa, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god. Because you're just gonna on the edge. And I love that. So it's great. So if you're happy, if you're into that, then definitely it's not depressing. It does get like tear jerking stuff, like for sure. Because I did tear up and cry in certain parts. But it was such a beautiful ending. It was very much like they were described. Come for the smut, stay for the plot. Very, very well done. I'd say like it's like a good dark fanfic that's not too much or too triggering in a way. There's definitely points where I feel like it would definitely trigger you for certain things. Because she does go through a lot of episodes in there. It's just because she's not happy with certain things that are happening in her life. And how much this fanfic has, her scar ends up being a very prominent thing. Where Bellatrix marked her with the mudblood on her arm. That ends up being a very prominent thing in this fanfic. And you just see how much it affects her life. They compared a lot to Draco's with his Death Eater mark. So I like how they correlate that to the same in a way. And even though they're two different things, but they still run with dark magic. And they end up finding a lot of things that they share in common because of that. As far as feelings and how they live their life. Kind of in pain. To where they just want happiness, but they're just so much in pain because of that dark magic that's held in that scar. This one includes certain major characters that affect the outcome towards the end. I don't want to spoil and say too much, but there is a character that comes back, ends up being the villain. The major villain in this whole thing. It is not Voldemort. Voldemort's dead. Then you have the Death Eaters are kind of pardoned. If they weren't like such high ranking Death Eaters for Voldemort, like Lucius and things like that. Lucius is in Azkaban. He's put away. A lot of those Death Eaters are put away. But there are some that were kind of pardoned and led to try to live a normal life. Just like Draco. But Draco was one of the ones that was a high ranking Death Eater. So with him, they kind of was lenient with him to where they let him work for the ministry for like probation. So instead of him really going into Azkaban and staying in Azkaban, they took him and made him into that. And he helps basically capture other Death Eaters. You'll end up finding out things that happen that control that for him or make him a sort of like a puppet, and you really end up feeling really bad for him because of the things that he's gone through. It's very much, I feel like we always felt bad for him. Just like the movies and books, you feel bad, like he's obviously just that bad bully, but there's a reason why. So I feel like he's always lived kind of like a sad life. He was never led in the right direction. And then he just never got a chance. So in this one, it's cool because you want him to have that chance. And it's like, does he get it? Is he gonna be saved by this? Because he's technically just, even when he's on probation with the ministry, you end up finding, like, you end up wondering, is the ministry itself the enemy? Or the villain, in a sense, in this? How could I forget? This one had a quote that I loved so much. And it explained the whole premise of this fanfic so greatly. Like, just one quote. And I will never forget it. Like, it's the hero will sacrifice you to save the world, but the villain will sacrifice the world to save you. Oh my god, that hit me so hard. I was like, oh, that's a freaking good quote. So reading that prepared me to what was going to be happening at the end, because once we got to that end, it like made that quote make so much more sense. And it was like, yep, of course. Like, of course, of freaking course. I find myself, when I read these fanfics with Hermione and Draco, it's always, of course, they go through this time to where they fight their feelings for each other. They don't want to come to the truth. Like, they don't want to come to terms with it. They're very like, no, there's no way, I can't, this freaking Draco, no, whatever. Or it's Hermione, like, what? But when they get there to that point to where they finally realize, and that fire burns, burns so good. But this one, when it finally got there, I loved how Draco professed his love to her in this one. I feel like in the other ones, it was like, oh, you felt it, obviously, the I love you, oh my God. When they finally say they love each other, it's like, oh, finally, oh my God. But this one, he went on and on. Like, he really, like, professed it to her. And it was, you felt so good about it. And just like, yes, like, I love this. Like, I love this side of him, because I never see that. It's just kind of short, very cut short on how he's, like, says he loves her and stuff. But this one really put more into it and was very much like, oh my God, I'm gonna cry. And I appreciate that so much in this one. And I wasn't expecting it from this one. I wasn't expecting this one to be so deep, like how deep it was. I think that the starting out with the smut kind of maybe threw me off a little bit for that. Like, I was excited about it, but I was surprised how deep it went, because it did go very deep. Just mind the trigger warnings. Like, it's a lot of PTSD. It's a lot of PTSD stuff, you know, with like torture, things like just toxic stuff. So mind that. But it was a very good, balanced fanfic of both. The plot being really, really well written, and the smut, the treat. All in all, I feel like this book is definitely something that you should read. Add to your TBR if you're trying to get into Dramione fiction, because this one is a must read. There is also something that I forgot to tell you guys. There's a twist in this one, which I love twists, because I'm just like, oh, keeps me on edge. But it was a twist that I didn't see coming. And I was like, oh, it broke my heart. As soon as it happened, I was like, no. Like, what is happening right now? Oh my gosh. So if you like twists, this one has a twist. And it's perfect. Which I feel like a lot of these I just love, but they're all just so unique in their own ways, but then they're so just captivating in their own ways. So it's hard for me to kind of figure out. It's definitely not top one, for sure. The top, like, I can't even pick between the two, because I already said Secrets and Masks, Manacle. Those are my top. But this one, maybe I'd say it's like third so far out of ones I read, because I would say The Auction is probably my second. And then this one actually could be my third, because I really enjoyed it. It had its twists. It had the dark parts of it. It had me on the edge. The smut was good. It was everything well balanced, perfect. Everything I needed in this one fanfic. So definitely check it out. If you read it, tell me what you think in the comments. If you want to read it, if it's on YouTuber, if you added it because of me, that'd be cool. Any suggestions that you think that I might like after liking this one, if you read this one, and just, yeah, give me some suggestions or whatever. But I will be on my next read, which I have started, and it is called Memory of You. So that one is actually really a long one. So I'm like 14% in that one, and I've been reading it for a while. So this is a big one. Once I finish this one, I will be making another video. But I will see you next time on my next read. Bye.